What's up, everyone? Back for another live Monday night beer review. And today I will be reviewing two beers from the Boulevard Brewing Company, and they're out of Kansas City, Missouri. And I have their Bourbon Barrel Quad. And then I also have their Whiskey Barrel Stout. So before we get into either of the reviews, a few things I want to mention. Number one, if you're watching this back on replay, which actually, surprisingly, a lot of you really do. I will post timestamps in the description box so you can jump to either or of these reviews and even the cuvee. Yeah, the cuvee, because I know a lot of you don't have 45 minutes to an hour wasting your time watching subpar content. So if you just want to get right into either of the reviews or the cuvee, you can do so. For those of you watching live, you don't care about timestamps, do you? No, you probably don't. But I care about the comments. So if you're going to be commenting in the comment section, if you're having this beer or either of these beers, or if you had them before, you're drinking another beer, let me know about it. We'll chat. That's kind of why I like doing these live reviews, not specifically just about the beers. It's about chatting with you guys. So yeah, post comments. I'll read them. In fact, I'll read some right now if we have any. Let's look. Oh, I have none yet. That's because I started a little bit late. I'm never late, but tonight I was. Anyway, the one thing I want to mention in addition to that is that I actually have already picked out the two beers that I'll be reviewing. Well, not the two beers, the two different breweries that I'll be reviewing beers from in the next 2 weeks. So next week, which is a Monday, June 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be joined by a fellow beer tuber and a good friend of mine, Craig, over at Kent Beer Reviews once again. And we will be reviewing a couple beers from Weihenstephaner, the classic German brewery. And we're going to be taking a look at their Hefeweizen, which is a Hefeweizen, and their Vitis, which is a Weizenbach. Both of those beers are classics. I haven't had the Hefeweizen in about 1.5 to 2 years. Haven't had the Weizenbach in almost 5 years. So it'll be fun to revisit them. And that's why I like doing these live reviews. They're beers that you guys can get for the most part. And it's just fun to kind of revisit these classic beers that I don't usually review during the week. So Craig's going to be joining me, and I also might be joined by a couple of beer tubers. We'll see who else grabs the beers, but most of you should be able to pick them up, and that's because they're pretty much available all over the United States at the very least, obviously in Europe and whatnot. I paid $3.29 for a 500 milliliter bottle of each of those beers. So great value, absolutely great value. So on the following Monday, which is Monday, June 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will, and by we, I mean the same individuals that reviewed the Chimay beers with me last week, which is the aforementioned Craig from Kent Beer Reviews, Nick over at Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews, and Jesse of Bumpy Road Brewery. I believe all three of those will be joining me to review two beers from the Rochefort Brewing Company, which is the Trappist brewery out of Belgium, classic Trappist brewery. And we're going to be doing their 8 and their 10. The 8 is a Belgian strong dark ale. The 10 is a quad. I've had both of them before, and I'm in the minority when I'm going to say this, but I like the 8 more than the 10. Now, I never have done them side by side, but from my recollection of drinking those beers multiple times, I do like the 8. I've had the 10 recently in the last 6 months. Nick has the Beer Analysis 101. Cheap plug, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Nick's channel. And we did it within I believe it was the last 6 months. And yeah, that's a delicious beer, but I still think I like the 8 more. So doing a side-by-side, I guess we'll find out. And I think all three of them are going to be able to join me. So if you can pick up those beers, and again, they're pretty much available worldwide. Now, they are a bit more expensive in the U.S. I believe the 11.2 fluid ounce bottles are anywhere from like $5 to $7, depending on where you live. And the 750s are somewhere between 10 and 14 bucks. Expensive beers, but they're worth it. Big ABVs, but also big in flavor. So to recap, next week, June 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Weihenstephaner, the Hefeweizen, and the Vitis. Then the following week, we're going to do Rochefort 8 and 10. And I should be joined by multiple beer tubers that week. So with that all the way, I'll check the comments, and then we'll get into other stuff. Jesse says, cheers, I'm having trouble finding the Rochefort beer. So maybe Jesse will not be joining us. I know he said he had to go to Massachusetts potentially to pick them up. So let me know, Jesse, if you do, or if you're able to grab them. I just thought they were pretty much available in most places. So that's interesting. I guess we'll see. Anyway, I guess we'll start with the review of the Bourbon Barrel Quad. So when it comes to Boulevard, I was first introduced to Boulevard it's about 5 years ago, courtesy of a fellow beer tuber and a good friend of mine, DJ, over at DJ's Brew Tube. A lot of you know DJ. He has, I think, well over 6,000 subscribers. Maybe he has like 7,000. He has a lot of subscribers, DJ now. He might even be close to 10,000. Great dude, very energetic. I love his reviews. And like I said, he's a great guy. And he hooked me up with multiple Boulevard beers back then. And the Bourbon Barrel Quad was one of them. And so was the Whiskey Barrel Stout. It was just called Imperial Stout, aged in whiskey barrels. And he sent me a couple different bottles. So I have two in my cellar right now. I have a Bourbon Barrel Aged Quad from 2013, and I have the Imperial Stout and whiskey barrels from, I think, 2014. Now, I drank the other ones fresh, and I loved them. Now, both of these beers are year-round, part of their Smokestack series, and the price for both of these beers was around $4, I think, a bottle. I want to say a 4-pack of these ran somewhere around $14-15, so pretty good value, especially when you take into consideration the ABV and everything, and the availability. Wherever you see Boulevard, you probably pretty much see these beers. But we're going to start with the Bourbon Barrel Quad. So this is a Belgian-style quadruple. Yes, it is. And it is a Belgian style quadruple that is aged in bourbon barrels. And it also has cherries added, comes in at 11.2% alcohol by volume, 26 IBUs. And the bottling date on mine is September 18th of 2018, putting this right around 8 months old at the time of review. It says best by September 17th of 2020. They usually give a couple years on these beers. But yeah, that's interesting. Depending on the beer, sometimes they say 1 year, sometimes they say 2. This is 2 years out. So little spiel here they have on their website. It says this beer is based loosely on their Smokestack series is the 6th class, which is just a Belgian style quad. I don't know exactly if the base of this beer is the 6th class. I'd imagine maybe they bump it up. Maybe they do something. I don't know. I've had the 6th class before. Pretty solid Belgian style quad. It says this abbey-style quadruple is separated into a number of oak bourbon barrels where ages for varying lengths of time, some for up to 3 years. Cherries are then added to make up for the angel's share of beer lost during barrel aging. Selected barrels are then blended for optimum flavor. So you have a blended barrel-aged beer with cherries added. You can't really... you can't really, for the price point, for $4, the availability, pretty cool. We have a comment from Craig over at Kent Beer Review. Says, "Evening, Joe. I'm intrigued by tonight's beer. Too many shout outs, by the way. LOL. I am already just dizzy from the shout outs, Craig. But you know what? Everybody deserves them. So let me crack this open. Hopefully it doesn't explode everywhere. I don't know. It's rising a little bit, but no big deal. Anyway, let's give this a proper pour here. As soon as I cracked it, I smelled bourbon and I smelled booze. So, Jesus, that's it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Let me put the Smokestack series cap up here. Oh, everything's got to look perfect. Not really. I don't know what I'm doing, honestly. Let's be honest. So yeah, that pours out actually a bit lighter. I prefer my quads to have. Now it's going to come off on camera. Let me actually look on camera and see how it looks. Yeah, that looks relatively dark, but it doesn't look as dark as I'd want my quad to be in person. It has really like light mahogany tones, like copper, more than like a deep mahogany or like even a red. Has a 3-finger of a light tan, really sudsy looking head. Now I didn't pour it super aggressive, but it's definitely carbonated. It looks like a quad, although a bit lighter than I like. Definitely a lot of carbonation. Looks like a good beer though. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to let the headset settle down just for a second. I'll read some more comments and we'll chat back and forth. Drunken One says, "Good evening, gents." What's up, Drunken One? Craig says hi to Bumpy. Drunken One says hi to Craig and Jesse. Nick says, "I missed a shout out. I was just going to assume Joe forgot me. He usually does." I actually did not, Nick. I actually mentioned that you're going to be on the Rochefort 8 and 10 in 2 weeks, June 24th, Monday, 8 p.m. You better join me. I know yours are age, but whatever. Jesse says, "Hey, Craig, going to dry hop my New England style IPA right now while listening to Joe." Nice. Can't beat that. Jeff says, "Hello to all watching." What's up? Jeff is drinking another half beer, or was drinking another half beer, which I know nothing about. I don't know anything about other half beers. I don't know what he's talking about. Ethan from Ethan's Beer Review shows up and says, "I had the rye whiskey. It was really good." The rye on rye, the regular rye on rye, Ethan, or the rye on rye 6? Because the rye on rye, all the rye on ryes I've had have been delicious. Anyway, the nose has dialed down. The nose is, look, it was dying out. And I just, did a little bit of a twirl. Now it's back to 2 fingers. I'm a moron. Yeah. Now, so this just has big, like malty caramel bready tones to it. There is dark fruit, like the cherries. It could be from the cherries added. It could be just from the malt base. But I am not getting a huge barrel on here. It's a sweet, like messy, boozy type of nose. Yeah, mostly like really sticky burnt sugar, toffee, caramel, brown sugar, things like that. A little bit of spiciness, I'd assume, is coming from the yeast, like a cinnamon, clovey type of thing. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and say it smells bad or anything. It just smells somewhat boring, I guess. Just standard. Just like, yeah, it's a barrel aged quad, has cherries, I guess, added to it. And it just is kind of disappointing on the nose. And I remember the nose being disappointing in this one. So I'm already disappointed. It's the first beer of the day. I don't know. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. I do want to mention this has been, I put them in the fridge because it was a little bit cooler in the, it's been, yesterday was literally 89 degrees here, which is crazy how hot it was. So I put these in the fridge just to cool them down. They've been out of the fridge for over an hour now, so close to room temperature. Oh, yeah. Sorry, Redbeard said cheers all. Yeah, sorry, Redbeard. I'm just so disappointed in this beer. Redbeard. Also, shut up, Redbeard. Redbeard says, why you skip my comment? Because that's what I can do. Redbeard is my chat, buddy. You better post that Slice the Pies review and the boss tweet. Or did you get the M43? I don't remember. Anyway, I'm kind of bummed out, honestly, with this beer. Right now, drinking this, for me, this beer lacks a bit of soul. Just like a bit of soul. It's just, is it bad? No. You know what? The best thing I can say about this right now, off the get-go, 11.2%. I can tell there's alcohol in here. It's a little bit of astringent. There's a little bit of like an astringent dryness on the palate, but for the most part, I can't tell you it's exactly 11.2. I'd guess like 10. So it hides it a little, like, relatively well. It's super smooth. Like, aside from that slight astringency, very smooth. The body on this one, yeah, it's like lower side of full body to medium full. It has a decent, it's not really thin. It's not full body, but it's not thin. The mouthfeel, there's more carbonation than I'd like. Quads have a tendency to have a lot of carbonation, but they usually have like a slight soft and smooth, creamy texture to it. This one really doesn't right now. It's very carbonated, and like the enjoyment level or the drinkability is smooth, but not the mouthfeel. God, that sounds stupid. So Redbeard got the M43. Nick got the boss tweet. He's thinking of reviewing it tonight. You should, because those are still relatively fresh. Nick, get on it. He says, in fact, is sitting next to me warming up. Just reviewed the American Solera Handsome Brothers. Bloody gorgeous. Nice. Now, I wish you would have busted that open to share, other than that pedestrian IPA, which was totally pedestrian, right? I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so body, lower side of full body to medium full. Mouthfeel, very effervescent and spritzy on the palate. There's doesn't have the smooth creaminess I want from a quad. The taste, though, this is where it kind of even lets me down more. Is there caramel and toffee and bready components to it like you would get from a big quad? Sure. Is there dark fruit? Yeah, pretty much generic dark fruit. There's a big dryness on the back end from the alcohol, from what I would assume is just the Belgian yeast strain, the spiciness you get from the esters. But this just lacks any oomph. This lacks any complexity for me. What I'm drinking right now, I could not tell you this is barrel aged whatsoever, or that there's cherries added to this based on what's in my glass right now. I've had this one before. I had it before they put it in the 12. This is, I believe, a 12-ounce bottle. Pretty sure. Yeah, 12-ounce bottle. And I'm not saying, oh man, it used to be better or whatever. But what I remember when my palate was quite a bit different 5 years ago when I first had this, or 6 years ago, it was way more impactful, way more complex. It had soul to it. It had what I wanted from a barrel-aged quad. It just, even though this is a Belgian style quad, it is not an authentic Belgian quad. It is brewed in America. At the same time, I just remember this being way better. I don't know. I'm very disappointed right now. It's not bad. Here's the thing. Sounds like I'm shitting on it, or I'm super disappointed, which I am. This is not a bad beer. I'm going to be able to drink this. I'm not going to hate it. It's just, I remember this being like like an A beer, like into the A's, A- A beer. I remember this being really good. I remember it just having, I keep on saying soul, but it's like it's lacking any soul to it. It's just boring. Oh, we have Brandon from Craft Beer Pour shows up and says, cheers, Joe. What's up, Brandon? I got to catch up on everybody's reviews. I haven't really watched anybody's stuff in the last 3 or 4 days. I know you got a couple up there, Brandon. Same thing with you, Nick, and pretty much everybody in the chat. So We'll be doing that over the next couple days. Nick says, so pedestrian, it got hit crossing the street. Those are dad jokes. Hashtag sad jokes. Nick says, this quad sounds kind of disappointing. Yeah, it is. Just picture like a North American brewed quad, which you would just assumed would be like just a standard solid quad. And that's what this is. I don't get the barrel in here. And I remember getting the barrel in the old one. I really don't get the cherries. It's lacking. It's just lacking. It's not a bad beer. It's just, wow. I remember this being so much better. That said, it is really drinkable, 11.2%. As I drink on it, that alcohol stringency kind of just dying out. And I'm getting more of like obviously the carbonation is kind of dying out in the glass as well. So it's becoming a little bit more soft and smooth. I don't know. I'm just disappointed. Craig says, had Burnside from Foundation Brewing not long ago, decent brown ale. Yeah, it's crazy you guys get Foundation. What the that's crazy. Nick says, wow, Joe admitted I post content. You do. You do post content. I don't know how many people watch it, Nick, but you do. Jeff says, yeah, this one I gave a 4.25, but haven't had it since the 2016 vintage. Yeah, the one I had was the 2013 or 14. I think it was the 13. And that was probably 4.25, 4.5. I don't think I posted on tap. This one right now. So the pros of this one is price point. It's $4. It is a barrel-aged quad with cherries. It's 11.2%. It's readily available. Value-wise, sure. If you want to drink something that has some flavor, is Belgian-esque, and is barrel-aged, and you're just kind of in the mood for a quad that's been in barrels, for the price point, I think this is like $14-15 a 4-pack. Yeah, that's not bad value at all. I know the Canadian viewers will be like, oh my God, that's a great steal. Well, do the conversion in Canadian. This is probably like $20 a 4-pack or $22 a 4-pack or whatever it would be. It'd actually be like 18, 19 now I'm thinking about it. Actually, still be pretty good value. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is just not working for me right now. And I try to do my best when I do reviews to have constructive criticism or whatever. And like I said, this isn't a bad beer. I'm not shitting on this beer. I'm not saying it's undrinkable. I'm not saying it's the worst thing ever. I just remember it having more soul, more complexity, and just the flavors worked for me better back in the day, whether that was my palate, whether it was the way they brew it, whatever the case may be. Right now, as it stands, the Bourbon Barrel Quad from Boulevard, because of its drinkability and the ABV is hidden relatively well, and the value, even though I usually don't take that into consideration for ratings, I'm going to give this a low 3.5 out of 5, like 3.4 out of 5. I can't believe I'm giving this that low of a score. Like, it's not a bad beer. I'd be curious if anyone has had this outside of Jeff, what you think about it, whether you listen to it, my live review back or whatever. I just remember this being delicious. And right now I'm kind of just disappointed, and you can probably see it in my face. I'm just, fuck me. Anyway, Jesse says, Joe, New Hampshire just started getting single cut. Yeah, get into that. Yeah, single cut makes great beer. I know Jeff could probably vouch for single cut, but I don't know how many times he's had single cut or if he's had it recently. But I know they've been getting distribution in New York for a long time, so I'd imagine Jeff has had some. But yeah, single cut makes good beer. The problem I have with single cut is they used to be really expensive, like super expensive. Like, I'm talking for a single can. Well, they used to come in 500 milliliter bottles, so 16.9 ounce bottles, and they were $7-8 for like a 6 or 7% double dry hopped IPA. They moved to cans, and the price point didn't really move all that much. I was routinely paying $5.50 to $6 for a single cut IPA. Like, that's expensive. That's like, $24 a 4-pack, $23 a 4-pack. That's expensive. They've gotten a little bit better. They're more in like the 5 range now, but they're still expensive. I still would say pick them up because they make great beer, but be forewarned that they are expensive. Anyway, I'm just removing this from site right now. Hopefully the Cooooooovvee saves this. Let's do the Whiskey Barrel Stout because, for fuck's sakes, man. Come on. I really like Boulevard too. Like, I know Jeff, you do as well. Jeff says I'm bummed for you. I'm totally bummed for myself too. Hopefully the rye on rye that you sent, maybe that's a little bit better. Hopefully this Whiskey Barrel Stout's better. I mean, I can't see how it's not going to be. Anyway, let's give it a pour. So we're doing I'll talk about the Whiskey Barrel Stout after I give it a pour because I just I'm kind of frazzled right now. I'm just kind of pissed. Not pissed because I spent money on it or whatever and it's letting me down. Just pissed because I remember that beer being great. And now I'm like, I guess not for me. I mean, maybe if somebody has drank that and enjoyed it, more power to you. Me, on the other hand, I just drank it. I don't think I'll ever buy it again in the 12 ounce bottles. I don't think I ever will. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, Whiskey Barrel Stout. So they have on their website, it says, well, it's an imperial stout that is aged in whiskey cask. It says, over the top, but surprisingly approachable. This twist on the classic style starts with several types of malted barley, rye, oats, and wheat. They talk about flavors. We'll forget that. Roughly 1/3 of the final blend is freshly brewed beer. The rest is aged up for a year or more in both first and second use whiskey casks. Comes in 11.8% alcohol by volume, 32 IBUs. And this bottle, believe it or not, is actually just over 15 months old. I did not realize this. I bought this a couple months ago, and on the shelf, it was already basically a year old, so I really wasn't paying attention. It has a March 1st, 2018 bottle on date, and it says Best Buy March 1st of 2019, so it's already spoiled. I should probably just throw this out. Let's drain pour it. Let's do it. Let's fucking get rid of it. Seriously, though. Boulevard always puts like a year or two on their... Like, these beers can age for years. Like, years. So I'd imagine this is probably gonna age well. I don't know. Based on the Bourbon Barrel Quad, maybe not. Jeff does say he was paying $6 for single cut too, which, yeah, that was ridiculous. Jesse says a video of heavy boots of lead with a Rajay deal. Yeah, heavy boots of lead is delicious. The barrel aged version, I haven't. I've never had it. I actually put it in my cellar and forgot about it, so I need to drink it at some point. And Jesse says that is coming soon. Rajay deal, Jesus Christ. Eric Gilbert says, cheers, cheers, fools. This stout is a little thin. Eric, did the Bourbon Barrel Quad show up in the LCBOs? I don't remember it. If that showed up. I know you guys get Boulevard, obviously, the Whiskey Barrel. But anyway, so this Whiskey Barrel Stout, that looks beautiful. Deep pitch black, basically. There are no even like tinges of like a purple or like mahogany tone. This is just straight on pitch black. It had about a finger of a really nice, like straight up brown colored head, maybe darker brown. Tons of alcohol legs. There was also a bunch of alcohol legs on the Bourbon Barrel Quad, but I don't really want to talk about that beer anymore. So this one looks proper. This looks beautiful. I like the look of this beer. Let's get a nose. Yeah, now that fucking smells delicious. I'm staring down the Bourbon Barrel Quad over here like I want to fight it, but it's a beer in a bottle, and I can't do that. I'll just give it dirty looks. Yeah, Smokestack Bourbon Barrel Quad. I was very disappointed. I gave it a low 3.5, 3.4. Didn't get really any barrel. Lacked any soul, any flavor, really. It was okay. The best part about it was the value at $4 a bottle. You had 11.2% in barrel aged and cherries and stuff, sure, but really disappointing. Oh, this is really nice. So I don't pull out these tasting notes too often, but with the age on this one, just how I'm getting like tobacco and like leather in this one. Yeah, it has like a nice, like slightly charred tobacco leather kind of tone to it. Really deep dark chocolate, like bittering chocolate, 60, 70, 80% cacao bar. Man, this smells vanilla from the whiskey casks, dark fruits like plums, raisins, dates, caramel and toffee. Wow, this is super complex. I just want to sit here and smell this. Fucking smells great. Yeah, the tobacco and leather. It's giving me a characteristic that I don't get a lot. A lot of people will get leather and tobacco and things like that, like pipe tobacco and whatnot. And I don't get it too often. Definitely get in here. Redbeard says liquefied smoking jacket. No, not that bad. Jeff says I just drank one of these last month and it was Best Buy 818 was still good. Yeah, I'd imagine it. Wow. So basically put a year. So that was basically bottled in August of 2017. Jesse says tobacco and leather are my favorite notes in Imperial Stout. Yeah, I mean, I don't like really tobacco at all. I don't smoke cigars. I don't smoke pipe. I never smoke cigarettes. The leather is weird, but the tobacco, I must say, it smells good. It really does. Joe Gansel shows up and says, hi, all. Cheers, Joe. Yeah, it smells. You can smell the bourbon. You can smell the vanilla from the whiskey. You smell the whiskey. Like it's prevalent. But the underlying Imperial Stout, probably fucking fantastic. I'm going to get into this one, and hopefully this does not disappoint me like the Quad did. Cheers, everybody. Yeah, that's nice. Now, that's fucking nice. Ooh, I'm so upset about that Bourbon Barrel Quad. The aftertaste is fantastic. Eric says, I had the old school 750 milliliter bottle. First Boulevard I had, it was solid then. That's what I was saying. Eric, you missed it, but I had it in 2013 or 14, 750s, and it was delicious. I gave it a good rating. I really enjoyed it, and whatever's in that 12-ounce bottle for me doesn't resonate with me. Anyway, this is delicious. First thing I notice is that this is a little bit undercarb. It's lost some carbonation. I don't know how carbed it is when it's super fresh, because I don't think I've ever had this beer super fresh. It's usually been at least a year old. But what it has is it's a little thin. It's like higher side of medium body. Did I mention the ABV on this one? 11.8. Yeah, 11.8%, 32 IBUs. For something approaching 12%, this drink's it's in the 9.5, 10 range, both in just taste and knowing it's that big of a beer, but also in body. This is like higher side of medium body, lower side of full body. At 12%, I'd want something thick and chewy, but it is thin. I can get over it. The mouthfeel, undercarbed, but it's super, super soft, slightly creamy. This is a great mouthfeel. I wish there was a little bit more carbonation, but it's still great. Tons of sweeter. It has a sweeter dark chocolate in the taste. Like the nose was screaming bittering, cocoa powder, kind of like cacao bar, 50-60% bittering. This one in the taste is more like not approaching Hershey's Special Dark in terms of sweetness, but approaching more of a just like a little bit of a sweeter dark chocolate. So I really like the chocolate component of this one. But yeah, you can tell this was in whiskey casks. It has a whiskey flavor. There's nuances of vanilla. That leather and tobacco, albeit not as big as it was in the nose, still there, carrying on through the palate. The dark fruits are the thing that I would say gets kind of lost in the taste, but caramel, toffee, and sweeter burnt sugars are a little bit more prevalent in the taste. It finishes to the sweeter side of things. There is a drying component, but it still finishes a bit sweet. It's 12%. It's a big imperial stout. I'd imagine you probably should expect it to finish to the sweeter side of things. This is not cloying, but it is sweet. Jesse says, to me, the tobacco can double as raisin. Yeah, I could see that. In the taste, though, that's not as big as it was in the nose, but that's why I mentioned like plum, figgy, like raisin thing in the nose. I could definitely see that, Jesse, for sure. Craig says, we get single white IPA over here online, but don't know how old they are. Yeah, I wouldn't buy any IPAs online in the UK when it comes to American breweries. Eric Gilbert says, is it Cuban tobacco? Eric Gilbert, I just said I don't fucking know anything about tobacco, man. Stop trolling. Even though that's what you do, just stop trolling, man. Jesse says, I've got a whole table of delicious beer in front of me right now. This hasn't happened since my last visit to Treehouse. Is it all single cup beer, or what did you do? Did you go somewhere else? Did you do something else? This is scary drinkable. This is really good. It's not amazing. Here's the thing. It's undercarbed. It's not overly complex in the taste, even though the nose was. And the body's a bit thin. But this is a pretty fucking delicious beer. Considering this beer is available like the Bourbon Barrel Quad, which I don't want to reference because I wasn't a fan. This one is also year-round. I paid, again, around $4 a bottle. I think a 4-pack of it's $14 to $16. For something that's almost 12% in whiskey casks, as good as this has great value to it, without question. Without question. Yeah, so a bit thin, bit undercarbonated. I really like the mouthfeel, even though it is a bit undercarbonated. Really nice flavors, a lot of chocolate, a little bit of that tobacco and leather thing going on, a touch of the darker fruits, vanilla, whiskey's there, finishes to the sweeter side of things. Yeah, I really dig this one. I'm going to give the Whiskey Barrel Stout from Boulevard a high 4.25 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.35. This has made up for the Bourbon Barrel Quad. This, to me, is what I remember Boulevard being, having this beer 5-6 years ago. I remember this beer being good. Back then, I liked the Bourbon Barrel Quad better than this beer. Back then, I don't know if it was the exact same beer because it was just called Imperial Stout Asian Whiskey Barrels. It wasn't called Whiskey Barrel Stout. I'm pretty sure it's the same beer or very similar. So I think they changed the name just to kind of, Bourbon Barrel Quad, Whiskey Barrel Stout, kind of keep them the same. But for the most part, yeah, this is what I kind of remember the quality of this beer being. And this is one I'd easily buy again. I might even want to age this one for, up to 5 years. I do wonder if it's going to be like no carbonation at some point, considering it's undercarbed as we speak, but this is fucking delicious. Albert Gilbert says, I say this goes great with Monte Cristo. Well, I'll take your word for it, Eric Gilbert. I totally would. Want to do some ASMR beer reviews? No, I don't know. Anyway, so that was Whiskey Barrel Stout, 4.35 out of 5 from Boulevard. Digging it. I enjoy it. Yeah, so what do we got left? What do we got left? Is it the Cooooooovvveeeeeee? It might be the Cooooooovvveeeeee. It might be the Cooooooovvveeeeee, boys and girls. Little bit more of, well, let me just, I don't want to drink this, but I'm going to. Come on. Man, okay, so listen, I didn't cleanse my palate, okay? I just went in. Now that this has been sitting in the glass for, almost a half an hour, like 25 minutes, it had a really vinous note to it when I just took a sip, like like a red grape type of vibe to it. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to Cooooooovvveeeeee the shit out of these two. We're going to pour the quad into the whiskey barrel. Why? I have no idea, but here we go. Cooooooovvveeeeee time. Excellent. Not going to sing the Wayne's World tune, but here we go. Gross. We have Eric Gilbert says Cooooooovvveeeeee, and then Bumpy Road just says Cooooooovvveeeeee. And then Eric Lyons fan shows up and says, "What up, brother? Holy shit, Joe bought a mic." I don't know this is a mic. A lot of other people reference it as something else, Eric. It seems as though it might be. I'm not going to say what it is. Well, let's just say it's fantastic. Anyway, Jesse says Boulevard is in the Midwest, right? Yeah, Kansas City, Missouri. Kansas City, Missouri, Jesse. Jesse says all store bought, Single Cut, Mass Landing, Concord, Craft, Smut Labs, Great North Ale Works, and OJ by Lone Pine. OJ was pretty fantastic beer. We also get Mass Landing now. Jesse, the beer behind me, this one right here, the Gunner's Daughter, that showed up, and about 4 other offerings. I'd imagine the same thing happened for you. I think they're getting distribution. No jinx. Jeff says the Boulevard Manhattan Cask non-carbonated stout is fucking amazeballs. That never showed up here, Jeff. I saw you and Sadiq talking very highly about it, but at the same time, that never showed up here. So I'll take your word for it, buddy. Eric Gilbert says it's a mushroom head. For fuck's sake, Eric Gilbert. Come on, buddy. Come on. Anyway, let me cleanse the palate. I don't even know if I cleanse the palate in between the whiskey barrel and the bourbon barrel. Doesn't matter now because this fucking beer was dynamite. All right, Cooooooovvveeeeee time. Let's take a look at it. It looks like somebody lightened up the whiskey barrel stout. It's probably going to come off the same color on fucking camera because it always does. But it's definitely lighter. A little bit of like a brown tinge at the bottom here. And the head is no longer dark brown. It is pretty much a straight up tan color. Lots of alcohol legs. Let's get a nose. Paul from PA Brewed shows up and says, "Cheers, brother." Cheers, Paul. What's going on, buddy? You at work tonight? Wow, that actually smells pretty good. Picture this beer or any good like whiskey cask imperial stout or barrel aged imperial stout in general with a bigger like concentrate of dark fruits. That's what this has in it. With the Cooooooovvveeeeeee. Yeah, vanilla's still kicking around. Those tobacco and leather notes and pretty much gone at this point. Not huge chocolate, not huge burnt like caramel and things like that. A little bit of that vinous, grapey note. Paul says, yeah, loving life at work. Sons? He's not. He's not. Totally not. Jesse says, are you drinking yet, Paul? Ill-advised, if he is. I'd imagine as soon as he gets out of work, he totally... you are... is it dry June, July, and August, Paul? Is that what we're working on? I think that's what we're working on. Anyway, this smells good. This smells better than the barrel-aged Bourbon Barrel Quad. Doesn't smell as good as the Whiskey Barrel Stout, but let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. Nah, don't fuck around with this. Don't even. I'm pissed off now at the Bourbon Barrel Quad because now it just ruined like 2 ounces of this Whiskey Barrel Stout. It's not bad. It's better than the Bourbon Barrel Quad, but yeah, I mean, listen, anybody could have told me don't mix a quad with a stout. Certainly these two, when that one is the quality in which about the quality I feel it is compared to what this one is. Yeah, not great. Paul says, yeah, dry through July at least. So, yeah, pulling for you, Paul. You can do it, buddy. Eric Lions fan says, settle down, Joe. I can't, Eric. That fucking Bourbon Barrel Quad pissed me off. All right. Paul says, only having 3 brews every other Friday during the podcast night. Nice. Jesse says, damn, I'm only dry the day of a really bad hangover. And then Paul says, my 4 cheat days are the every other Friday. That's fair. I like what Boulevard does. Let me just preface this by saying I like what Boulevard does. I think Boulevard brews pretty good beers. Okay, their Tank 7, I love that. That's a great saison, farmhouse, whatever you want to call it. It's a good beer. I've been really impressed by their barrel aged beers. I've had the Rye and Rye. I've had the Imperial Stout right here, where it used to be called Imperial Stout Asian whiskey barrels. I've had the Bourbon Barrel Quad, the 2013 or 14 vintage. I've had numerous other beers from them. I like what they do. The Bourbon Barrel Quad in the 12-ounce bottles for me, not doing it. The Whiskey Barrel Stout in the 12-ounce bottles, on the other hand, doing it. I will say this. If you go to the store and you want a barrel-aged beer from Boulevard, get the Rye on Rye. Rye and Rye is fantastic. Probably my favorite. I don't think it's year-round. Might be year-round, but as far as the Smokestack series goes, Rye and Rye kills it. This would be number 2 when it comes to that. And Bourbon Barrel Quad, I would not pay the money again. And I'm not going to pay the money again because it's not a good beer. Now, I should say that. It's not. See, because I gave it a low 3.5. It's a solid beer. Value-wise, what they're going for, I'm not a fan. Nick says, dear God, Boss Tweed is a garlic bomb. Yeah, Boss Tweed is a garlic bomb. It's fucking delicious, Nick. Come with that nonsense. You better love it. Eric asks if Paul lost any weight yet. Eric, Alliance fan, says, LOL, what? Boss Tweed should not taste like garlic. I disagree, Eric. It has garlic. Did I just say I disagree? Garlic? I disagree, Eric. I might. I've been getting a little tipsy. It has the hop character that has that danky, herbaceous garlic onion flavor. Kind of, we did a couple of reviews at the Well and Piss Up, and we totally got it, but everybody's palate is different, so whatever. Eric Gilbert says, yeah, see, Jeff says, yes, Boss Tweed is an onion garlic bomb, but delicious. I agree. I mean, it has a lot of onion garlic, like dank, herbaceous characters, but it does have a lot of tropical stone fruits. Like, it's not just onion and garlic. Eric Gilbert says, my cheat days are whiskey days, son. That's not really, well, I mean, I guess. So what are your non-cheat days then? Just beer? Is that what that is, Eric Gilbert? Eric says, Eric Lions fan, too many Erics in the fucking chat. Come on, guys. Eric Lions fan says, I can't taste the garlic. Fair enough. That's like I said, everybody's palate's different, and nobody's wrong. Nobody's right. Everybody is, well, I should say nobody's wrong. Everybody's right, right? Right. Paul says they've been so poor in quality overall for so long. Are you talking about Boulevard, Paul? Because I don't feel they have. The competition is so intense, I'm surprised they're still managing to survive. I think their barrel aged is probably where it's at. Their base beers, I really do like Tank 7. I might be in the minority, but I think it's awesome. It's kind of like how I like Amagang's Hennepin. A lot of people probably don't buy that, but yeah. Eric Gilbert says, how about the plaid thingy from Boulevard? That's another one that didn't show up. That's their Scotch ale, right? Barrel-aged Scotch ale. That was another one that did not show up in my area. Jesse says, so Boss Tweed tastes similar to Deviant Dale by Oscar Blues. Yeah, but it doesn't have Summit hops in it, Jesse. That was the one prevailing thought by a lot of people, which turned out to be true, is that Summit hops, depending on how they're brewed, huge onion and garlic vibes. But Boss Tweed does not have Summit in it, as far as I know. It just, there's a lot of hops nowadays that can produce that herbaceous dankness that's reminiscent of garlic and onion. Boss Tweed, for me, just so happens to be one of those beers. I don't remember if I got it in the can that I reviewed, but I've gotten it in cans that I've drank since then. I don't know if it's changed. Kyle from No Hype says, Tank 7 is great. Hey, Kyle, if you want to join me next Monday at 8 p.m. and you want to pick up Weihenstephaner's Vitis and the Hefeweißbier, you are invited, good sir. We're going to have Craig from Kent Beer Reviews joining, but I definitely want to do some live beer reviews with you, Kyle. If not, that's cool. We'll get to something at some point, but just letting you know. Paul says he'll weigh in later. He started at 254, looking to hit 230 at least. Nice. Nick says, yeah, loads of garlic and onion. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's pretty well done here. Thanks to Jeff. Jeff hooked him up. What do we got? So, Eric says, congrats. I'm still fat. Eric, just settle down, buddy. Jesse says, too much ginger. It covers the garlic note. At Redbeard. It's Ribbeard. Jesse, it's Ribbeard. He broke a rib. Jeff says, no problem. Hope you like it. To Nick. Paul says, a strong Saison is not good enough to compete against the growing craft scene. An amazing list of competing breweries release. Sons? Yeah, I didn't say it was. I'm just saying it's a delicious fucking beer, in my opinion. You know, there's a lot of beers out there that are delicious from breweries that might go under at some point and are struggling. It's just, it is what it is. Burning Beard says Sabres gave Skinner 8 years, 72 million. LL, good luck. Go Canes Whalers. I am not disappointed by that just because they got to keep it. Is it overpayment? Sure. Someone would have paid them $8.5-9 million in free agency. Sabres need to keep guys that score, 30 goals a year. I'm not too upset about that. It is overpayment, but that's what the Sabres have to do when you haven't made the playoffs in 8 years. So a lot of people aren't into it. But at the same time, I can't really be too upset. Kyle says, let me look for it. Yeah, so no, it's the Hefeweizen beer. So it's the Hefeweizen, they're classic, and the Vitas. Look for it, Kyle. And if you can, next week, 8 p.m., same time, Monday, you're more than welcome. Just let me know. I'll text you about it and just let you know the details and whatnot. And like I said, I don't want to put you on the spot. No issues if you can't. Just thought I'd throw it out there. Eric Gilbert says, Tank 7 is amazeballs. Anyone that disagrees needs to be choked out. So I feel like Eric Gilbert wants to choke out Paul. But Paul didn't say it was a bad beer. He just said it can't compete. No, Tank 7's amazing. In fact, I contemplated picking that up over the Bourbon Barrel Quad. And now that I have drank the Bourbon Barrel Quad and I gave it a fucking low 3.5 out of 5, I wish I would have just grabbed Tank 7 and reviewed it because fuck me, is that beer delicious. But I've had it so many times. I was like, I'll do the Bourbon Barrel Quad. I've had it once. I enjoyed it. Fuck me, man. Nick says, yeah, I loved it. Dank as fuck and loads of juice and vegetal onion garlic. Eric Lyons fan says, Vitas is a damn good brew. It fucking is. I haven't had it in like 4 or 5 years, but it's delicious. Their Hefeweizen is fucking delicious as well. So here's the thing about Weihenstephaner. They make fucking delicious beer. It's all reasonably priced in the States. That's the one issue I have with Belgian beers when they show up here. Like we're going to do Rochefort 8 and 10 in a couple weeks. Nick and Jesse potentially, if you can find it, and Craig. And the problem is that beer is like $6-7 for 11.2 ounce bottle. I'd rather have Weihenstephaner's fucking Vitas for $3.29 a 500 ml bottle. I'm not saying they're the same beer because they're totally different beers. Just saying from a value standpoint, it's fucking stupid. I don't know why it's so much from Belgium, but not Germany. I don't know. What the hell? Kyle says, sounds good to me. All right. Kyle, also, I'm working on, coming down to Matt's thing. I'm leaning more towards being able to. So hopefully I'm able to. Eric Gilbert says, Vitas, baby. Yeah. Paul says, bought you a brewing collab with Sheets Coffee, son. Oh, shit, Paul. We fucking teasing me, brother. Don't be teasing me. Nick says, Vitas was pretty good if I recall. Yeah, it's fuck. Weizenbachs are weird for me. Like, more often than not, I'd rather have just a straight up Doppelbock, because isn't a Wiesenbach basically just like a wheat version of a Doppelbock? It's like a little bit lighter, I think, and maybe ABV and just like color and whatnot, but that beer is delicious. So Eric Gilbert says, Covey Barrique Sons. Yeah, I saw you drinking that maybe like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. That looked delicious. I don't think I've seen that on my shelf though, Eric. So, you and your fucking Ontario just pulling shelf turds off at ridiculous prices. I hate you, Eric Gilbert. Nah. I appreciate you, Eric Gilbert. I do. Jesse says, I just realized it was Eric Lyons fan, not Redbeard. I'm a dummy. It's Ribbeard, number 1. And yeah, no, that's on you, Jesse. It's okay. Kyle says, we'll talk offline about both, brother. Yeah, I'll send you a text, Kyle, and we'll figure it out. I'll try to keep the language down because I know, I know how you roll. I know behind the scenes on Nerd Sense's channel, you get a little crazy, but I know how you roll. I'm not, we'll keep the language to a very minimum if you join us next week. Corbinian from Weihenstephaner is totally delicious too. That's the thing. When it comes to them in general, I could grab 4 or 5 beers from them and review them. I just did 2 because it's just like I picked the 2 that I just want to do. But you're totally right, Jeff. 100%. They make great beer and they've been around for whatever it is, fucking 1,000 years or whatever it is. It's been a long time, right? For a reason, because they fucking brew fantastic beer. So anyway, I seriously do not want to drink any more of this. I would give the Covey, I'd give the Cuvée like a 3.5, 3.6. I don't want to drink it. Let's just say that. And then Kyle says, ridiculous. I figured you'd be reviewing some other half. Haha, you motherfucker. I review too much. So basically at this juncture, I review one other half a week. And it's basically other half Mondays. Every Monday I post another half review. So I do have one non-Monday other half review because I drank a fucking, don't tell anybody, but I drank a Pilsner from other half. Crickets with Saz and Sapphire hops. Like I drank a Pilsner from other half. and it was pretty fucking delicious, albeit super expensive, delicious. Eric says, I can get 20 more Covey Barriques right now. Well, that's on you, and I hate you, Eric, but I don't. Eric Gilbert says, drain pour. I'm watching my calories. I've lost weight. I don't need to drink. Shit, I don't really want to drink. I'm just, honestly, 3.4 out of 5 for the Bourbon Barrel Quad. I might fucking drain pour that. Just being honest with you. I mean, it's not a terrible score, but I don't really want to drink it. It's not worth the calories, and it doesn't taste great, so fucking... I'm going to drink the whiskey barrel stout, though, no doubt. Maxwell Star Nick says, other half Covey. Burning Beard says, other half is paying his rent for all this airtime. Yeah. If other half wants to sponsor my channel so I don't have to pay fucking $20 a 4-pack, I have 400-something subscribers, right? That's nothing, but, maybe they want to at some point. Now they won't. So anyway, that pretty much does it for tonight's live beer reviews. I know a lot of my Canadian beer tubing friends, they got to watch a basketball game in about 15 minutes between the Toronto Raptors and Golden State Warriors game 5. Raptors up 3-1. History could be made tonight. Kevin Durant back for the Warriors. I don't know how it's going to go down, but I'm rooting for the Raptors. Go Raptors. Should be an interesting game. Jesse says, I drank a light lager by night shift. Tastes like Miller Lite. Guess they nailed it. And then Eric says, F the NBA. Just because your Pistons are terrible, Eric. Just settle down, buddy. But yeah, I've seen that one, Jesse. I just bought their Evervice, which is a mixed fermentation sour with kiwi, strawberries, and hibiscus. And right next to it was, I forgot the name of it. But yeah, that's what they're going for, a light lager, but at craft beer prices. It's like, come on, fuck that. Eric Gilbert, 2017 vintage at $7.50 for $11 for the Covey Barrique, baby. So that's what, $9, $8.50 American, yeah, for a $7.50. Dude, the Rodenbach Caricature Rouge for literally $6.75 American for a 750 milliliter bottle that's a Rajay deal times 1,000. Fucking stupid. Eric Lions fan says, Bumpy, don't put Miller Lite down to that level. Yeah. Ewer shows up and says, Teku Murray says, fuck you, Joe. Raptors on national holiday here. Shame on you. You don't even like the Raptors, okay? Aaron's a true fan. You're just a bandwagon jumper like you are when it comes to beer and everything. So like, I don't even believe you. So yeah, anyway. Yeah, Ewart says, also drank the Caricature Rouge today and it was amazing. Fucking right it was, Ewart, because it is amazing beer. For $8.50 Canadian, that is a crime. That is a crime. That beer is literally like $20 American at this point, and it used to be higher than that. That's... brain hurts. Anyway, last but not least, Bourbon Barrel Quad from Boulevard, 3.4 out of 5. Whiskey Barrel Stout from Boulevard, 4.35 out of 5. Buy this one if you have the chance to buy either of them, because this is worth it. The Bourbon Barrel Quad is not, especially not nowadays. And like I said, I have had both these beers 5 years ago. Bourbon Barrel Quad was delicious. Whatever's in this 12-ounce bottle is not the same as I remember it. Could be my palate, could be the beer, whatever the case may be. I'm not digging it. This is reminiscent of what I recall it being. So Ewart actually throws a compliment and says thanks. He says, thanks for the recommendation. Holy shit. Well, you're welcome, Ewart. At least my palate is, not that terrible. So anyway, I think I'm going to shut this down. Once again, want to say that next Monday, June 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Weihen Stefanas, Hefeweißbier, and the Vitas. Yes, that's how I'm saying it. I'm trying to, pronounce it the correct way, even though it's totally incorrect. We're going to be doing it. At least Craig from Kent Beer Reviews might be on there. Maybe Kyle from No Hype. Maybe another person. Try to keep the panel small. The following week, Rochefort 8 and 10, June 24th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Nick from Maxwell Stars Beer Reviews, Craig from Kent Beer Reviews, and maybe Jesse from Bumpy Road. If Jesse can't make it, we'll see if we can get a third in there and have a good time. So anyway, I'm going to shout out everybody here in the comment section because everybody deserves a shout out. Everybody. So first shout out goes to Jesse over at Bumpy Road Brewery. Check him out. Great home brewer. He does New Hampshire beer tastings. Good dude. Craig from Kent Beer Reviews, one of my homies. Good dude. Just one of my favorite UK beer tuber, period. And he's the new king of beer tube. Drunken One as well. Nick over at Maxwell Star Beer Reviews. I didn't forget you this time, Nick. I did not forget you. Beer Analysis 101 every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This week, I will be on with a host of others. We're doing a beer from Half Hours on Earth, Necessary Juice, Sour Double IPA. Should be fun. Shout out to Ribbeard, a.k.a. Redbeard Carey. Great channel as well. Shout out to Jeff No Jinx. Good friend of mine, doesn't have a channel, but he's hooked me up with so many beer mails. And in fact, he just sent me another one. I will be doing the unboxing tomorrow. Should be posted later in the week because that guy is an animal. Shout out to Ethan over at Ethan Beer Reviews. He showed up, said he had the Rye on Rye. Appreciate him checking in. Brandon over at Craft Beer Pours. He popped his head in. Nice of him as well. Eric Gilbert, my one lone troll on the channel. I guess you were technically a troll, but Eric's a good troll. Shout out to Joe Gansel, who shows up, always supports all of our channels. Really good dude. And apparently he is a chef and probably makes delicious beers as well. I mean, a delicious food as well. So shout out to Eric over at Eric Alliance Fan. He's on the Beer Flow show every Thursday night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on Rajay Beer Venture show or channel. Paul from PA Brew News, he's going through a dry June, dry July, but he showed up to show support as always. Who else am I missing? Going through here, Kyle from No Hype. Hopefully he's on next week. Burning Beard as well to troll me on the Skinner terrible signing that I don't really mind, but it is definitely overpayment. Shout out to Ewart, aka Tekken Murray. Really doesn't have a channel. Ewart's a good dude. He just plays the role of a troll on here. And the last comment I have is from new person, I should say, that showed up on the chat. Backwoods Billy Craft Beer Reviews. A lot of emoji. He says, cheers, everyone. Cheers, Billy. I appreciate you showing up. Tekken Murray says, bye, Joe. Fuck you, though. Well, thank you, Ewart. And then Billy says, I caught the end of this. Appreciate you stopping by, Billy. Jesse says, cheers, Joe, and the chat. Eric Gilbert says, a solid 64% review. Cheers, son. Burning Beer says, cheers. Jeff says, cheers, everybody. Good night. Jesse says, I can get those. Emailed me the Vihestafana beers. Again, I will, Jesse. And then Backwards Billy says, good night, everyone. And Eric Gilbert, perfect way to end my chat, says, Malt Liquor Monday, fools. So shout out to all of you guys. Next week, we'll be back with Vihestafana, Hefeweißbier, and the Vetus. And until then, oh shit, Urch just popped in and said, in for proof. So that's the one thing that's a bummer about doing these at 8 p.m. Earth doesn't get home to around like 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He always pops in a little bit late. Not late as in late for him, late for us, but I always appreciate it, Earth. Now, Earth, tomorrow is the 400th beer review on my channel with your Paisley Cave Complex from Bottle Logic and Great Notion. That'll be posted about 10 a.m.-ish, so be on the lookout for that. We all shout you out, and yeah, listen, I have a lot of bad content on my channel. It's the worst fucking review we've ever done. I'm not sure you can even hear anybody. Everybody talks over one another, but at the end of the day, we all enjoyed the beer, and we're thankful that you sent it our way, so thank you very much, Earth. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. I'll see you next Monday for another live beer review, and until then, oh my God, I got to cheers you with this fucking Cooooooovvveeeeee beer anyway. Cheers.